Have you ever noticed how someone who used to light up every family gathering suddenly starts canceling plans? At first, it's little things. Not feeling up to it today, or maybe next time. You brush it off. We all get tired sometimes, right? But then, it keeps happening. Invitations sit unanswered. Phone calls go to voicemail, and before you know it, that vibrant, lively presence feels like a distant memory. You tell yourself it's just old age. You say, they're just slowing down? But deep down, a little voice whispers, what if it's more than that? What if pulling away isn't just about getting older, but a silent cry for help? You see, when elders start withdrawing from the world they once loved, it's not just because they're tired. Sometimes it's pain they don't want to burden you with. Sometimes it's fear they're too proud to admit. Sometimes it's loneliness wrapped in a smile, hoping you'll notice before it's too late. And here's the hard truth. If we miss these subtle changes, if we chalk it all up to just aging, we might also miss a powerful opportunity to bring comfort, understanding, and even joy back into their lives when they need it most. Today, we're not just talking about the obvious stuff. We're going deeper. Because behind every maybe next time, behind every I'm just a little tired, there could be a story that needs to be heard, and a life that still desperately wants to be loved, included, and remembered. Stay with me, because today we're going to uncover 6 eye-opening truths, 6 powerful, often overlooked reasons why elders might stop visiting people, even those they love most. And more importantly, what you can do to make a real, lasting difference. This isn't just another checklist. This is about seeing beyond the surface, about listening between the silences, and learning how small acts of compassion can rewrite the final chapters of someone's story in the most beautiful way. And hey, if your heart is already whispering, yes, our elders deserve better, go ahead and comment "I'm here" below. Let's show the world that compassion still matters. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to Elder Talks Daily, because here, we believe wisdom should never fade into loneliness. All right, ready? Let's dive right in. First truth, physical fatigue and energy loss. Picture this. Mr. Johnson, the man who used to command the grill at every family barbecue, laughing louder than anyone, flipping burgers with one hand, and tossing a football with the grandkids with the other. But lately, something's changed. He still smiles when you call, still says, sounds like fun, but when the day comes, he just can't. It's not that he doesn't want to go. It's that getting ready, choosing clothes, taking a shower, tying his shoes, drains him before he even makes it to the front door. And the thought of being on for hours around people, it feels overwhelming, heavy, too much. You see, after 70, the body changes in ways most people never talk about. Muscle mass naturally declines. The heart doesn't pump quite as efficiently. Even simple tasks that once felt automatic, like walking to the mailbox or carrying a grocery bag, start to take a bigger toll. And here's something a lot of families get wrong. They mistake this exhaustion for laziness. Or worse, they think their loved one is becoming antisocial. They say things like, come on, you just need to push yourself, or you'll feel better once you get there. But for someone whose body is quietly waving a white flag, those words don't motivate. They isolate. Because the truth is, to them, getting dressed and stepping out feels like running a marathon they never signed up for. So what can you do? Instead of insisting on long, tiring outings, meet them where they are. Offer shorter, simpler visits. Maybe it's a quiet cup of tea at their kitchen table. Maybe it's sitting on the porch for a few minutes and just listening to the birds together. The goal isn't to drag them back into the fast-paced world they left behind. It's to bring the joy and connection to where they feel safe and strong. And remember, sometimes the best gift you can offer isn't a full day out. It's 15 minutes of genuine presence in a space where they can still feel like themselves. But physical fatigue isn't the only invisible wall they're facing. Sometimes it's not the body that's holding them back. It's the mind. It's fear, quiet, creeping fear, that plays an even bigger role. Let's talk about that next. Second truth, fear of falling or getting injured. Now, imagine this. Your Aunt Margaret, the one who never missed a family reunion, suddenly says she's not coming this year. At first, it doesn't make sense. She loves seeing everyone. She loves the potluck table, the grandkids running around, the warm hugs from cousins she hasn't seen in months. But then, if you dig a little deeper, you find out why. The parking lot's too far from the entrance. The path is uneven. The thought of making that walk, stepping over cracks, loose stones, maybe in the rain, terrifies her. You see, with aging, a lot of things shift that we don't always notice right away. Balance begins to slip. Vision isn't as sharp. Those small obstacles on the ground, harder to see. And bones, well, they aren't as forgiving anymore. A simple misstep could mean a broken hip, months of recovery, and a loss of independence that may never fully come back. It's easy, too easy, for families to misunderstand, to roll their eyes and say, she's just being difficult, or she's making excuses. But fear of falling isn't just in the mind. It's a survival instinct, and it runs deep, because one fall, just one, could change everything. They're not avoiding you. They're trying to hold on to whatever independence they still have left. And here's where you can step in. Not by pushing, not by forcing, but by reassuring. Offer to go with them. Hold their arm. Arrange parking closer to the entrance if you can. Call ahead. Find out if there's a wheelchair available or if someone can meet you at the door. And when you set up gatherings, think about the environment. Is it well lit? Are the floors even? Are there handrails, chairs nearby to rest if needed? Small adjustments like these tell them without saying a word, I see you. I respect what you're going through, and I want you here, safely. Because sometimes being thoughtful about their fears is the greatest act of love you can give. And yet, even when the body still has some fight left, even when you help clear every physical obstacle, there's another battle happening, a quieter, invisible one, inside the mind. Let's walk gently into that next. Third truth, cognitive overwhelm. Think about this for a moment. Your grandpa, the same one who used to tell the loudest jokes, start the sing-alongs, talk your ear off about everything from baseball to the price of apples. Now you find him at family gatherings, sitting quietly in a corner. Not upset, not angry, just detached, lost in his own little bubble. It's easy to wonder, is he mad at someone? Is he sad? Or worse, does he not want to be here anymore? But the truth is something far gentler and far more important to understand. You see, as we age, our brains change. Processing information, things we used to juggle without a second thought, starts to take more time, more energy. At a family party, there's music playing, kids laughing, plates clinking, 4 conversations happening at once. All this noise, all these moving parts. To a younger brain, it's lively. To an older brain, it can feel like standing in the middle of a hurricane. The senses don't filter out background noise like they used to. Every sound comes at them at full volume. Every conversation blends together like an overwhelming wave. And the effort it takes just to keep up, it can be exhausting, faster than you realize. That's why your grandpa isn't laughing as much anymore. Not because he's bored or grumpy or disinterested, but because his mind is doing overtime just to stay present. And sometimes it's just easier to retreat into silence. And this is where we need to shift our thinking. Instead of trying to pull them deeper into the chaos, meet them halfway. Choose quieter, calmer places for gatherings. Maybe a simple lunch at home instead of a big party. Fewer people at a time, smaller circles of conversation. And whenever possible, plan visits earlier in the day when their mind is freshest before fatigue sets in. Even something as simple as turning down the TV, choosing a cozy corner for a talk, or moving a gathering outside where it's calmer, can make a world of difference. Because it's not that they don't want connection anymore. It's that the way they experience connection is changing. And when we adjust to meet them there, in that quieter, gentler space, we're not just showing patience, we're showing love. But as you might be feeling already, there's another weight many elders carry, that has nothing to do with noise and everything to do with their hearts. It's the silent heaviness of grief, of losing friends, partners, siblings, and it changes everything. Let's talk about that next. Fourth truth, grief and emotional withdrawal. Picture Ms. Linda for a second. She used to be the heartbeat of the family. Every Sunday, without fail, her home was filled with the smell of roast chicken, fresh bread, and the sound of grandkids laughing in the backyard. She didn't just open her home, she opened her heart, and everyone felt it. But then, her closest friend, the one she'd shared every major moment with for decades, passed away. Since then, the Sundays have gone quiet. The front door stays closed. The smells, the laughter, the gatherings, all faded into memory. Maybe you've seen it too. A once social elder withdrawing, little by little, not because they stopped loving the people around them, but because a piece of their own world, a piece that can never quite be replaced, is gone. You see, as the years go by, the losses pile up. Not just one or two, but dozens of goodbyes. Friends, siblings, spouses, neighbors. Each loss is like another thread pulled from the fabric of their life. And after a while, it's not just sadness. It's a profound sense of disconnection. Even sitting in a crowded room full of family, they can feel more alone than ever before. And here's where so many of us, even with the best intentions, go wrong. We think, let's cheer them up. Let's distract them. Let's keep them busy. But grief isn't a broken mood you can patch up with enough smiles or noise. It's a real, heavy, sacred process. It demands space. It demands patience. And most of all, it demands presence. Sometimes the most healing thing you can do for someone in grief is not to push them to feel better, but to simply sit beside them. No big speeches, no pep talks, just your quiet, steady presence, a hand held, a story shared, a silence honored. When you do that, you're not erasing their sadness. You're telling them you are still seen. You are still valued. You are not alone in this. Because grief never fully goes away. It becomes part of who they are. But when we walk alongside them, they don't have to carry it all by themselves. And while emotional wounds are deep, there's another challenge that can be even more invisible, creeping quietly into their thoughts, whispering doubts they never had before. Let's talk about that next. Fifth truth, declining confidence in personal appearance. Let's talk about Mrs. Carter. You might remember her, the woman who always turned heads, not because she was flashy, but because she wore her pride and her elegance like a second skin. Every church service, every holiday, every family event, she showed up in outfits that just felt right, beautiful, confident, like she belonged exactly where she was. But now, she hardly leaves her bedroom. When invitations come, she waves them off with a soft, "Oh no, honey, I don't have anything nice to wear." At first glance, it might sound simple, right? Just find something new. Come anyway. No one cares what you wear. But the truth, it's deeper than clothes. As we age, the body changes, often rapidly and without warning. Weight gain, weight loss, swollen joints, skin that feels unfamiliar, mobility aids like canes, walkers, wheelchairs. They become part of the outfit whether you want them to or not. And with every change, a little piece of that confidence erodes. It's not just about looking good, it's about feeling worthy to show up. Feeling like you still deserve to be seen. And when elders stop feeling that, when getting dressed feels like a reminder of all they've lost instead of all they are, they withdraw, quietly, painfully, sometimes without ever telling a soul why. And here's where we often, without meaning to, make things worse. We brush it off. Come as you are. Nobody's looking at you anyway. But to them, it's not about us looking. It's about how they see themselves. It's about self-respect. It's about dignity. And dignity is something worth fighting for every single time. So what can you do? Start with genuine, heartfelt compliments. Not flattery, but truth. Notice the spark in their smile. Notice the warmth in their style. Help them find clothing that feels comfortable, beautiful, empowering. Not something that hides them, but something that reminds them you are still you, and you are still so deeply valued. Help them find a new favorite sweater. Pick out a scarf in a color that makes their eyes light up. Take them shopping for shoes that are both supportive and stylish. Tiny steps. Tiny reminders that they still deserve to take up space with pride. Because when you bring back even a sliver of that lost confidence, you open the door for them to rejoin the world they've slowly been pulling away from. But sometimes it's not even about how they look. It's about what they can or can't physically do anymore. Right there in the place that's supposed to be their safest space, their own home. And that is where we're heading next. Sixth truth, hidden health struggles and embarrassment. Let me tell you about Mr. Sam, a kind, proud man who used to love Sunday dinners. He'd bring his famous pecan pie, settle into his favorite chair, and tell stories that made everyone lean in closer. But lately, every time someone invited him, he said no. I'm tired. I'm not feeling great. Maybe next time. And so many thought, well, he's just getting older. Maybe he doesn't enjoy it anymore. Maybe he's becoming a loner. But behind closed doors, Mr. Sam was fighting a silent, invisible battle. He was struggling with incontinence. Imagine for a second the fear of an accident, the anxiety of not knowing if there's a bathroom nearby, the sheer terror of being embarrassed in front of people you love most. And here's the hard truth. He wasn't staying away because he didn't want to be there. He was staying away because he couldn't bear the thought of being seen differently, being pitied, being a burden. And Mr. Sam isn't alone. Digestive problems, bladder control issues, chronic unpredictable pain. These are extremely common struggles for elders, but they're wrapped up in layers and layers of shame. Because for a generation raised on tough it out and keep your dignity, talking openly about these things feels almost impossible. And this is where families often misunderstand, thinking it's just moodiness, stubbornness, or antisocial behavior. When in reality, it's pure embarrassment. It's deep, painful vulnerability hiding under a polite smile. So what can we do? First, create a judgment-free space. Don't force them into crowded, chaotic events if you sense resistance. Instead, suggest shorter, simpler visits. Meet in places with easy private bathroom access. Let them set the pace. No pressure, no timeline. Sometimes the greatest gift you can offer is the chance for them to feel normal again, without fear, without shame, without having to explain. A cozy afternoon on their porch, a brief drive around their favorite park, a quiet cup of coffee at home. Small moments, gentle moments, moments that remind them you are not a burden, you are still wanted here, just as you are. Because when we remove the fear of embarrassment, we open the door for real connection again. And now that you know these 6 hidden truths, you're no longer just guessing when you see an elder withdraw. You're seeing through the lens of compassion. You're noticing the quiet signs before they turn into isolation. You are better equipped, not to fix them, but to honor them, to walk beside them with real understanding. Because at the end of the day, what our elders want most isn't endless activity or perfect health. It's the feeling that they are still seen, still heard, and still so deeply loved. Watching the people we love slowly withdraw, it's one of the hardest things a heart can endure. It feels like losing them twice, once to the passage of time, and again to the invisible walls that rise up around them. You call, they don't answer. You visit, and they seem distant. You plan something special, but they gently decline, and inside a quiet ache grows. You wonder, did I do something wrong? Are they angry? Have they stopped caring? But here's the truth. Their withdrawal isn't a rejection of you. It's often a silent cry for understanding. A plea, please see me. Please understand how hard this is for me. Please don't give up on me. And when you realize that, the fear of these changes loses its sharp edge. Because these changes aren't warnings of loss, they're invitations. Invitations to love deeper, to show greater patience, to offer a steadier kind of honor, the kind that isn't about grand gestures but quiet presence. Instead of fearing the fatigue, The fear of falling, the cognitive overwhelm, the grief, the dwindling confidence, the hidden health battles. We can prepare ourselves to meet these moments with courage, with tenderness, with a fierce, unwavering kind of compassion. And the beautiful part? It doesn't take perfection. It doesn't take big, sweeping solutions. It takes the simple things. The hand offered without expectation, the visit made without agenda, the conversation where listening matters more than words. So if you're wondering what to do, start small. Call them, even if they don't always pick up. Visit, even if it's just to sit quietly beside them. Ask gentle questions, but don't demand answers. Offer simple outings without pressure or expectation. Because sometimes, the smallest gestures leave the deepest marks. Sometimes just being there says more than any speech ever could. And if you ever doubt whether your efforts matter, remember this. You may not always see it in their words. You may not always see it in their eyes. But somewhere, deep in their spirit, your patience, your kindness, your steadfast presence is a lifeline. You are proof to them that even as the world changes, even as their bodies change, even as the pace of life becomes harder to keep up with, they are still worthy of love, still seen, still valued. Mental challenges as the body grows older. Then there's the fear of falling, the silent anxiety that makes leaving the house feel like stepping into a minefield. Next, we delved into cognitive overwhelm, how the busy world can feel like too much to process, leading them to retreat to quieter spaces. We also touched on grief, the heavy emotional burden of loss that can isolate even the most social souls. Then there's the decline in confidence, how aging can take a toll on their self-image, making them feel invisible or unworthy of the world they once loved. And finally, we uncovered hidden health struggles, the shame or embarrassment surrounding physical issues that make them pull away. But here's the thing. These aren't just reasons. They're calls for understanding. Have you noticed any of these signs in your loved ones? Or maybe even in yourself? Is there someone in your life who's been pulling back and you've been wondering why? Maybe you've even experienced it yourself. If so, I invite you to share your story below. Tell us what you've noticed, how you've handled these moments, and how you've managed to reconnect. Your experience might just be the comfort someone else needs today. You never know who else feels the same way, and your voice could help remind them that they are not alone. And if this video resonated with you, if it helped you see things from a different perspective, or sparked a new thought about how to care for the people you love, take a moment to hit that subscribe button. Join us on this journey at Elder Talks Daily, where we'll continue exploring the ways we can honor our elders, support their dignity, and walk beside them as they age. Like this video if you feel that our seniors deserve better than to be overlooked or misunderstood. Your engagement means the world, and it helps spread these important messages to others who need to hear them. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of this caring, compassionate community. You make this all possible. Stay kind, stay connected, and I'll see you in the next video, where we'll continue this important conversation on Elder Talks Daily. Take care, and remember, you matter, and so do they.